Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to World Accord's first virtual conference on global solidarity. Before we get started, I have a few thank yous I have to share. Thank you to all the presenters and the coordinators of this event, to World Accord's viewers, our supporters, and our donors, partner organizations in El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nepal. And lastly, to Troy Roach, who's the wizard behind the curtain today, running the technology. And we wouldn't be able to pull it all together without your help. So thank you, Troy. The conference promises to be a series of interesting sessions. And there's probably something for everyone in making the world a global community that thrives. And that's what World Accord, that's our target, is to cultivate communities that thrive. So if we can get more people interested in that global solidarity of all working together, realizing we're all one, we're all in the same ship, that we can help make the world a better place. So whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you're watching live as it happens, or later as a recorded session, please feel free to leave comments, questions, concerns in the comments area, and we'll do our best to try and answer them. We can answer some live possibly, but a lot of them might get answered after, and that's fine. We'll have a record of it. There'll be recordings there for people to watch whenever they want to down the road, so that'll be fine. You're going to hear a lot about global solidarity today and what it means to various participants. And hopefully it will help you decide for yourself what global solidarity means to you, because it's going to be something a little bit different, a little bit personal for everybody, and everyone has their own beliefs, and that's fine. We do need to help shape them. And I guess that's part of the role that World Accord plays, and what the government wants to see us do, and what our board wants to see us do, and what we want to do is we want to help shape the public perception of the world. So anyways, I hope you all have a good time, stop in and visit any of the various sessions we have. Feel free to watch them again and again, share them with friends and family. You can share them after the fact, or you can shout out to people while it's going on to come and join us live. Anyways, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Isabelle Hachette. Isabelle is in charge of this morning's session on a World Accord update. And Isabelle's been with World Accord for several years now. She speaks many languages and is highly capable. She has been largely responsible for helping World Accord move forward with our work with the government and with the sector in Canada in general. So she's been awesome at networking with other organizations, and I would like to let Isabelle take it from here, and she will share with you all the things that she's going to be talking about today. Thank you.
Good morning. As David was saying, this is the first time that we're doing a session like this, and I have the great pleasure to participate in this session on global solidarity with Terry Fielder and Chad Daly. So the idea is I'll present Terry Fielder and Chad Daly, and then I'll go over what our partners have been up to and the consequences and impacts of COVID-19 in their respective countries. And then I'd like to share with you a couple of definitions I thought could help us further our analysis and our definition of global solidarity. And then we'll get to talk with Terry and Chad. And as David was saying, we really want this to be interactive, and we want you to really participate and share with us what you believe global solidarity is, and what we should do now as this pandemic continues to impact us. So first, I don't know if you, first I'd like to introduce Terry Fielder, who was the founding executive director of World Accord from 1990 to 2009. And I'm also with Chad Daly, who is the present president of the board of directors of World Accord. So without further ado, I'll just share with you first what the pandemic of COVID-19 has, with the consequences and impacts of the pandemic on our Central American partners. So in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. And we got this information from PRR, Programa de Reconstrucción Rural, MEA Mujeres en Acción, and at CASMAS. So for many of these countries, there have been preventive measures and as social distancing, quarantine, and even curfew. And this has really affected their feeling hungry. Like most of the people now can't go out. So the poorest are very affected because they can't go out. And the children have been very affected as well, as they can't, because they're not going to school. They have not been able to benefit from meals at their own schools. There's also been a very big impact on access to essential goods and services. And one of the participants in PRR, with PRR, Amalia, was saying that in this crisis, women pay the consequences, and they are taking care of everyone, doing nursing work, but no one is taking care of them, of the women. And Esquivel, another participant, is saying that the situation generates greater inequalities. And he again talks about all the school children that are in rural areas and who do not have access to the internet. And finally, gender-based violence and domestic violence have really been increased there, as well as here in Canada. So now I would like to share with you the video of Azucena Fajardo, who is a CIAL representative with PRR in Honduras.
Azucena Fajardo, soy de aquí de la comunidad de la Majada Zacapa Santa Bárbara. Pertenezco al CIAL Brisas del Yohoa y actualmente soy la secretaria y siempre he estado coordinando actividades del grupo, participando en reuniones, capacitaciones por parte del PRR. Actualmente, ¿verdad?, llevamos más de 2 meses de estar en esta crisis a nivel del país, a nivel de comunidades, con este coronavirus del COVID-19, el cual nos está afectando demasiado a cada persona, a cada familia en nuestra comunidad, a nivel del país. Es una situación que nadie le esperaba. Es primera vez en mi vida que estoy viviendo esta situación. Para mí y mi familia, Kevin, que pasa conmigo, ha sido muy difícil porque nos afecta en que no podemos salir, no podemos ir ni al mercado a comprar nuestros alimentos. Es una situación bien tremenda, ¿verdad?, que nos pasa en este tiempo, en nuestras vidas. Actualmente, en mi persona, como madre soltera, ha sido muy difícil porque por la situación de no poder salir a comprar lo necesario, porque aún ya andaba con pedazos de chancleta. Nunca me había visto de esa manera, de andar hasta chuña, ¿verdad?, en esta situación tan fea, digo yo, con este virus que nos está afectando. Bueno, también en esta situación de este coronavirus, ¿verdad?, en estos momentos, en este tiempo, hay que ser solidarios con el prójimo, con el que más necesitan, apoyarse uno con otro, a darle amor, a compartir. Si no tiene, pues a poderle apoyar con algunos alimentos. Es lo que nos queda, pues, ser solidarios, compartir, y también para poder apoyar a otras familias, como ejemplo, en mi persona, ¿verdad?, por la situación que estamos pasando. Entonces, esa es una forma de ser solidario, ¿verdad? De ahí se demuestra el amor al prójimo, el tener para compartir. Y ser solidario en este momento es muy, muy eficaz, muy importante, porque estamos demostrando el amor de Dios y también no discriminar a nadie, no ser discriminado, porque es algo muy feo también recibir discriminación. que no lo puedan dejar pasar en un retén, que nuestro hijo no pueda viajar, ¿verdad? Entonces, ya que él tiene una familia, hay que atender también, ¿verdad? Pero que lo discriminen de esa manera a uno es muy feo. Yo no sé. Otra cosa que se ve muy importante es que en la comunidad, por parte de un comité que es organizado, no sé si a nivel del CODEN o la municipalidad, vinieron a la comunidad a apoyar con una bolsa de alimentos, el cual cuando vinieron a entregar ese día yo estuve apoyando con el muchacho de la municipalidad a que fueran firmando la hoja de entrega a cada familia, y eso es muy importante, uno a poder apoyar en la entrega, y esa alimentación fue para algunas familias en nuestra comunidad fue muy importante porque algunas ya no tenían qué comer. Y otras ayudas que vienen a nivel del gobierno tal vez llegan, pero solo se queda allá, en lo más grande. Y en las pequeñas comunidades, en los más rurales, a veces no llega del todo.
Okay.
En los momentos, desde la mañana, fui a comprar unos víveres para preparar baleadas, ¿verdad? Es una actividad que la estoy coordinando con Chaifon Adasma, como persona de agente de cambio comunitario para Adasma. Con mi nuera estamos preparando las baleadas y ya tenerlas listas para después esperar a los de Chaifon y poder ir a cada retén. Por ejemplo, en el Jobo, la Isla, la Majada, Horconcitos, tal vez Mogote, para poderles ir a entregar en que sea una baleada a cada persona que está en los retenes. Su ayuda, su aporte como institución es muy importante para nosotros como grupo, como personas, como PRR, ¿verdad? Entonces es muy importante esas aportaciones para nuestra organización porque así podremos salir adelante de esta crisis que no se sabe cuándo va a terminar, ¿verdad? No se sabe cuándo terminará. Gracias, hasta pronto, saludos, Dios les bendiga.
Yes, as you can see, Azucena shares many of her definitions of global solidarity. And now we'll move on to what WPD, Women for Peace and Democracy, with the ED of Shobha Shrestha says. I'll just, before we show you the video, I'll just share some key points from this video. The lockdown in Nepal started on March 24th. And has now been extended to May. And Shobha agrees that this lockdown has been very effective to prevent and control the spread of coronavirus. But as you may be aware of, many Nepali men especially work outside in the Middle East, for example, Kuwait, Dubai, or Saudi Arabia. And they've been forced to come back home, as well as 2 million Nepali who work in India. So with all these men coming back home, there's going to be a big loss of remittances, which is when people send back to their families home a part of their salary or of their funds. And that helps these families to buy their necessities. And then many daily wage earners who rely on working every day to eat have lost their jobs and their incomes. And they are also running out of basic essential foods. So, and because they have no saving, it's very hard for them. The Nepali government has tried to provide essential items and has done quite a fairly good job at it, as Shobha says, but it's still not enough. And once again, how unfortunately there's a lot of gender-based violence and domestic violence, which is on the rise. So now we'll share with you the video of Shobha Shrestha.
Namaste, I'm Shobha Shrestha. I'm the chair of Women for Peace and Democracy in Nepal. We are one of the partners of World Accord. We are thankful to World Accord for allowing us to come with this video message, and also grateful that it has been shared with you. I hope that this finds you, your families, and your friends safe and healthy in this difficult period. We are also in a lockdown. The lockdown started from mid-March, and now it has extended up to May end. Nepal has been identified as one of the high-risk countries as it shares multiple open borders with neighboring countries, India and China. Along with this, Nepal's health infrastructure are also very limited. Till now, we have 357 COVID cases and 2 deaths. Due to the COVID, the economic insecurity caused by the dual blows to Nepal's tourism and migrant labor force run the risk of pushing many Nepalese households further into poverty. Thousands of unemployed nationals are returning home from abroad. Nepal does not have the capabilities to quarantine and isolate the returnees and would therefore risk spreading the virus to some of the country's most vulnerable and isolated communities. Also, more demand on food and water, which supply would find difficult to match, and resulting in high cost and food shortages. Nepal will have to import more goods from India, and India has already stopped rice exports. The lockdown has affected everyone. The most effect has been for the daily wage earners who have to work for every meal every day. We work with the marginalized people in rural parts of Nepal. These marginalized poor people are not able to store large quantities of food grains. Most of them they buy every day for everyday meal. They are running out of basic essential foods such as salt, cooking oil. Most of the people have very little or no savings. The local shops used to give credit earlier, but they have stopped now. The government of Nepal has provided essential items, but that's not been enough. Therefore, the marginalized women and the families have been taking loans to buy daily essential items. This has burdened more to most vulnerable people of the community. Our organization has been encouraging women and marginalized to initiate small-scale businesses to come out from the poverty. And women and the families have been working hard in the field, renting lands, doing small-scale businesses like vegetable farming, livestock, poultry farming. They have been working for months and months, taking loans in their businesses. But when the products are ready, they are unable to sell in the market due to the lockdown. Also, due to the scarcity of fertilizers, seeds, medicines, the chickens are dying and vegetables are destroyed. the farmers are suffering from huge loss. In one hand, their business has been ruined, their products has been ruined, they are unable to sell, they are a huge loss, and many have lost their jobs. On the other hand, due to the shortages of essential items, the price is going high. So the women and marginalized are suffering a lot from this pandemic. Also, the emergency services have been reduced, giving more priority to the COVID cases. In one of our committees, women who are expecting and also newborn babies do not have access to regular checkups and vaccinations. The old age people and sick people in the community are deprived from healthcare services. Due to the decrease in daily income and lack of food and because of hunger, family disputes, arguments, and domestic violence are growing. Children education has been hampered as well because we do not have online education facilities, especially in the rural communities. The children spend most of the time in front of the TV and using mobile phones. The people of Nepal in a couple of weeks will have to face the worst difficulty ranging from shortages of water, food, and proper shelter. Household sharing a common water pipe and a toilet is a huge problem in the fight against the pandemic in both rural and urban areas. Many people do not own land and they find difficulty in managing own toilets and have to share a common toilet. Socioeconomic marginalization and unequal power relations further jeopardize the system. The current scenario in the ground tells us that the shortage of water and food is currently the major challenge, followed by landlessness and homelessness among underprivileged communities. Therefore, a global solidarity is important to address this pandemic. The pandemic has hit everyone, and therefore everyone has to work together to address this virus. No country can address in isolation, as this pandemic creates chain effect. The main agenda today is to save lives and avoid infection. Unless we take coordinated collective action to prevent the spread of the virus while seeking a cure, the human impact will be very dangerous. The COVID cases have shown that everyone is vulnerable. It doesn't matter whether you are Dalit or marginalized women, or a doctor or a nurse or a prime minister. We can all become infected. At the same time, we need to establish safety nets for the most vulnerable, as risk of increased sexual violence, spouse abuse, and gender discrimination typically surges during emergencies. Therefore, there is the urgent need for greater collaboration at national, regional, and international level. Only with coordinated efforts can one effectively trace cases, promote cross-border hospitalizations, and share medical research. Joint action is far more effective than one country trying to deal solely with its own problems. This pandemic has already demonstrated that no one group faces a greater risk than the other, whether Christians, Hindus, or Muslims. We must recognize the essential equality and vulnerability of all humans, and we have to act accordingly. Therefore, we have to work together. We have to support each other. We have to encourage each other. We have to help each other to address this pandemic. Thank you and namaste.
So, well, I don't know about you, but I learned a lot. And now I would like to open the conversation up and have the opinions and thoughts of Terry and Chad. So maybe we could open up the conversation, and please feel free to comment. We have all our professionals who are watching Zoom and Facebook to share with us your comments or your reflections. And as we said, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So please, Terry and Chad, maybe Terry, you can go first.
I find it quite compelling, especially listening to Shobha and the challenges they're facing in Nepal, and recognizing that it's the poorest people at the bottom of the economic spectrum that feel the greatest impact and feel it first and feel it more intensely. And, you know, listening to the conversation from Honduras, and the translation wasn't particularly well done in the caption, so we missed a lot of it. But it just took me back to my first trip to Honduras and the times that I spent there and what we saw, and that sense of being separated from it, and yet it's part of us. And what do we do? I first went to Honduras in 1984 and sat in the villages and began to learn about humanity and about people from them. These were people who never went to school, never had a chance for an education. They basically were subsistence farmers. They ate what they grew. They grew some corn and they grew beans, and they hoped to have enough to get them through to the next harvest. And they wanted some of the same things that I wanted for my family and my children, for my community. They wanted the same things. They wanted a better life. They wanted better access to healthcare. They wanted better education. They wanted more control over the forces of the country, the economy, things around them that were impacting their lives and upsetting their ability to live. And it was a challenge to think about how we could help them to do what they needed to do, because I knew we couldn't do it for them. They had to be able to do it. And in order to get there, it took, for me personally, quite a while to recognize that I had to trust them. And I had to recognize and respect how much knowledge they had. And I got there by thinking about how I would do if I was living there. And I realized that I would be hungry really quickly because I didn't know how to grow corn, especially on mountains where there were no fields, mostly rocks. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, the world doesn't always leave us alone. But recognizing that the poorest people, as Shobha said, it's the poorest people who feel the impact first. And recognizing that we have a lot ourselves. What do we do? What can we do that would help them? And it's the agencies like World Accord that have the ability to reach into villages in other places. But we are, you know, and there's ways we can participate with World Accord. And I was involved in World Accord for many years, and it gave me and my life a direction and And I like the phrase that comes from French that there really isn't an English translation or equivalent, and that's raison d'etre, a reason to be, maybe. We don't use it, but I hear it from those people who live in the French communities. So the poorest are hit hardest and the most, and they have the least buffer to protect them from the COVID-19 or whatever other disasters roll through their community or our community. Maybe I was most inspired by my eldest daughter, who she's a school teacher and she lives in the center of Kitchener. And she was walking every day up the street and she came by a man living in a bus shelter, and she saw him every day. And this was just a couple of months ago in the early part of the shutdown. And she wanted to help him, but she couldn't even give him, Tim Hortons is right there. She couldn't even give him a gift card to that because it was closed. So there's a grocery store, a small grocery store just up the street from that. So she went and got him a bag of essentials, basically. And she brought them to him, and which was a very generous act. And she introduced herself and she offered it to him. So he took about half of the stuff out of the bag, and then he asked her to give the rest to the woman across the street who was living in an alcove of a building. And she didn't even know that this woman was there. And so she took the bag over and gave it to her as a gift from him because she'd given to him. And to me, it was really inspiring because she found a way to address the needs around her, not in a permanent way, but in a way that says that we're part of this community together. And we're part of the community together with the people in Honduras. We're part of it with the people in Nepal, in Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. And it's difficult to be in the world and be out of it, to be separate. When I first went to work in World Accord and was involved with the people in Central America, particularly Honduras, the farmers were self-sustaining. They grew what they ate, and we helped them move to an economy where they produced something more of one thing and sold some of it to buy other things. And it helped expand the whole economy that, as Shoba said, the perishables are perishing because they're locked down. They can't go out and sell what they've got. The things they need are becoming more expensive. The things they got are becoming less valuable and spoiling. So I feel like we were part of the problems that some of those people are facing now. And we wouldn't want them never have had the opportunity or the power of the right to choose, the ability to choose for themselves. At the same time, they're left high and dry right now. So I'm really appreciative of the opportunities that are created by World Accord to talk about it, to know a little bit more about it, and maybe find ways to help them so they can solve those problems for themselves in their place.
Thank you, Terry. We're just being conscious of the time here. Isabelle, if you can move along, and it's 9:34 now.
Hey.
Sorry. Yes, and please, Chad, can you share with us your thoughts and how you feel, what it means to you, for you to be part of World Accord and this global solidarity movement?
Now I'm unmuted. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. Thank you, Terry. I'll be the president that says, being part of this movement, I would like you to go to worldaccord.org/donate. I think that's part of my role in encouraging you, if you're able, to help where you can. So the way I feel that we are sort of joined together in this solidarity is we're really all feeling a very similar situation for all of us. Where many of our people are not working still. They're either unemployed, they're unable to feed their families. It's not the same, but it's a similar feeling that we would get here in Canada as we're seeing worldwide. And that's how I feel about the solidarity and that we're all in it together. That being said, we're much more fortunate here that we have a social programs that are able to assist us and sort of help pull us through a little bit. But there are a lot of similarities in our produce that can't get to markets, which are not able to be open. Farmers that are unable to get rid of the excess milk because of some of the markets that are not available for them to sell to. So there's a lot of similarities that we are seeing worldwide. So that's how I feel we're sharing in the solidarity together. However, I do believe that we're so much more fortunate in Canada that we still can reach out to those who are more marginalized, and doing so, with our extra, if we've applied for that extra $2,000 CERB money, and that's maybe a bit too much. Certainly, I would encourage you to maybe donate a little bit of that, or not use all of it, and conserve it and use it in the best way that you can. I'm not as wordy as Terry, maybe, but anyway, I thank you all, and I'll maybe hand it back over to Isabelle to close us up, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you both, Terry and Chad. It's very moving to hear you share your memories and what you believe, what you see in Canada as well, and make the link between local and global, and to also make us realize that we can all do something. David, before we close, I was wondering if we had any comments or something that you could share from the chat box.
There hasn't been any specific questions. I think that people are still getting on a roll in terms of this. So we've had a number of people join and say good morning and how much they're appreciating it. But yeah, there's been no actual questions yet. However, everyone, please, if you have questions or comments, the comment field is a place where you'll be able to get your questions answered down the road if it's not answered immediately. So we'll be watching those and we'll add our comments. Can I wrap things up now, Isabelle? Are you done? All right, then I will. So stay tuned. We're gonna have Chad Daly come back, and he's going to be on at 1:30 Eastern time and talking a little bit about what they've done with their property. Him and Shannon have done an amazing job with their bees and their garden and everything that they do out there to try and make their home more sustainable. And then we also probably will have Colleen Laurie jumping in on occasion with some pop-ups. There'll be some little activities. So if you have Facebook up, just watch for it to pop up live, and you'll have some activities there that Colleen will be joining you with. But until then, thank you so much for Terry and Chad and Isabelle. Great job, you guys, sharing what we've got. And thanks again to Shoba and to Azucena Fajardo for sharing. We have other videos from other employees with the partners. We'll put them on YouTube later, so that everyone will have an opportunity to see those as well. But for now, we just didn't have the space to be able to use all the resources at hand. I hope you had a good time, and if you did, please share and watch the schedule and see what's interesting. You don't have to, watch it all live. You don't have to watch it all at all. There's spots you may like and spots you may not so much. So anyways, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later. You have a wonderful day.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, David.